Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip Committee meeting. Today is October 28th, 2024, and we'll call this meeting in order at 7:34 p.m. Can you call? Oh, I'm sorry. Before we start, our Office Supervisor Eric O'Donnell is sitting in tonight for the Village Clerk, and I need a motion and a second to approve Erica acting in this behalf.
I'll make the I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Go ahead, Eric, can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Dizelle?
Here.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin? Here. Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Neva Esparza? Here. Trustee Peretta?
Here.
Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll start with our officers' reports, starting with mine. First on your agenda this evening was a request to approve an agreement between the Village of Alsip and Tactical Media to improve the village website presence and social media engagement and to promote sharing accurate information as well as showcasing the village's impacts, success stories, local business, and village vision. As Alsip currently has about 4,400 Facebook followers. To simplify what I'm trying to say is, what I'd like to do is I'd like to clean up our village website a little bit with the help of Tactical Media, who oversees media relations for our Alsip Police Department currently, and as well as having a presence in our Facebook page. Currently, my office manages that, and sometimes, right now there's so much information being, social media is so popular. What I'm really kind of going for is to actually have someone respond occasionally, to some of these followers of ours on social media, so that I want to just try and articulate accurate information back to our residents or whomever may be asking. The second thing which doesn't necessarily have to happen right away, but if the board feels, and this might not happen immediately, but if we do create or if we do establish a relationship with Tactical Media for our needs, I may have to come back to the board and actually, I'm not sure, I'm going to find out, technically if we need to actually create a position of public information officer for this person articulating all this type of information. And I got to ask, Sarah, does the police department, basically give you a title of any type like that yet too? Okay, so. Have an email address. Okay. So Sarah Saratella is with us this evening, and Sarah represents Tactical Media. Sarah, can I ask you to come up to the microphone and speak? You can even sit at the desk here if you like. This is a good mic right here.
Does the handheld work as well?
Yeah, but you got to get right up to your mouth too.
I'm all up for a challenge.
Okay, all right.
Hello.
Hang on a second, is that on?
Testing.
Right, very
Fabulous.
good. Okay.
Thank you so much. I also have some slides to showcase some of the potential opportunities for collaborating on this. So, first off, we're all here to make life easier.
Okay.
Happy, healthy Alsipians, let people know what is going on in the village and how we all started here. The good old Alsip Police Department. And a shout out to Lieutenant, as we've been working together for about 7 years now. I met Chief Miller way back in the day. I was teaching the crisis communications and the social media courses through Calumet College of St. Joseph and with the Chicago Police Academy. And after that, we started working together to build the police department's web presence here and to engage with people, to build that sense of community. And we've done okay. We've had about 45 times the follower growth in the time that we've worked together, and this is organic. And the cool thing about organic is that it means cost effective. We have not spent a dollar on advertising. We have not spent a dollar on paid marketing. When you create quality content and you use the science of communication, that is how all of this comes into play and works. So I've gone on to build and teach the science communications program at one of the top universities in the country, at the University of Chicago. But I never forgot where I came from, which is why I'm here today, because I love Alsip, and I love small towns. I'm from a small town in Michigan myself. So when it was, oh, hey, we're having some things where we want to get more information out with the village, I was like, sure, let's talk. So with those conversations, I wanted to show you some examples of how the platform's been used already successfully with the police department. And Lieutenant, if you want to chime in with any firsthand experience, by all means, feel free to jump in as well. But we're a really beautiful bi-directional platform. And we know that especially in some of the recent eras, police departments haven't always gotten the love and appreciation that they deserve. So we've taken a lot of pleasure in showcasing the people who are supporting the community and being responsive to comments. We like and love and engage with everybody who posts and comments. We address any disinformation. An ounce of prevention is always worth a pound of cure, right? So we also strategically capture and share really powerful emotional pictures of people in the community. You know, folks should know about the wonderful trustees, what's going on at the village. Because if no one knows about what you're investing in, a great example is the Fall Flannel Fest. You put a lot of money and planning into that. Should that not live beyond one day? Well, if we strategically capture photos and share and engage with the community, that one investment and event can live on and spark action and build a sense of community here all year round. With additional examples, we also, we'll get to those in a second, but one of the fun facts when you're talking about news and engagement, 85% of people right now have smartphones. They're on their phones all the time. Not everyone is sitting here in this room, right, for a village board meeting, but you do have the ability to reach people every day from the comfort of home, from wherever they are, in their pockets with their cell phones. Because what % of adults do you think are on social media? Fun fact.
I mean,
90% in the front row, 90% in the front row. It's about there. Estimates anywhere 70 to 90% depending on your sourcing. It's almost everybody. And a lot of people now are getting their news from social media. And in cleaning up the website and the first web platform page, that first impression of people when they come and they want to see, oh, should I come to Alsip? Should I do business here? It gives that positive, welcoming front door and then gives a place to hyperlink back to for the social media content. Because also, fun fact, how many hours per day do you think people spend online? Average adult. 7 hours. There are a lot of people who spend that much. Yeah, if we're taking in all generations into consideration, anywhere from, 2-3 hours to 7+. People are on all the time. So whereas they're not necessarily spending 10 hours on the website, they are spending a lot of time online and interacting with family and friends and sharing content on social media. So as part of the discussion today, what are things that you've noticed in the community? Any hurdles? Any things you're like, geez, I wish people knew this? Or if you live here, I wish I knew more about X, Y, and Z. Because this is an opportunity where we can build and create that bi-directional communication platform. So first, hurdles. Second, goals. What do you want to happen if you could wave a magic wand? Open floor. And if nothing comes to your mind right now, no stress. I know you have a full agenda tonight. But think about it. This is a collaborative process and one where you can take advantage of really engaging with folks. So no one's jumping out of their chairs right now, but swirl it around. Over to you, Mayor. Yes.
well, no, it just, obviously, like I said, our goal was to, as I said to start the meeting, was basically just clean up our presence on our website. Not everybody's on social media. And what there is, obviously I monitor social media daily. I refuse to comment on it because I respect everyone's First Amendment right. But it's basically, there's so many misconceptions and misinformation that's out there. It was my goal to obviously help that along to provide good information to folks. And we really don't, and I don't know too many towns that do, have a person that monitors something like that. I mean, it's one thing to give you a little bit of content, share an event with you, tell you what time Halloween hours are and stuff like that, but it's just not, it's not our wheelhouse to manage, this, media presences and stuff then too. So, I run operations all day. You have a police department doing their job. water, public works, building departments, everybody's got their job to do, and we're not doing this, that kind of thing yet, too. And our IT department has been inundated with new projects at the same time. So I don't know, as I said when we first met, I don't know how far I want to take this engagement, but at the same time, I just know we need a small shot in the arm to kind of help us along, so.
No, and I'd say, to follow up on that, Mayor, I mean, I definitely agree, you know, we could use a fresh face on our village webpage. It can be cumbersome to try to navigate or find what you're looking for. So I'd say 100% would, you know, be in favor of, you know, freshening that up, making it more interactive and easier for users to find things. User-friendly.
It's aggravating, too, to watch the public, even as again, social media is so popular these days, but it's terrible when I'm watching like a conversation go the wrong way. You know, there's projects that are taking place, there's different things that are taking place, and all of a sudden somebody gave you bad information, and it might be somebody popular, and you ran with that. And it's like, oh my God, stop. You know, we know better. And again, it's not my job to challenge 300 people at the same time, but if you had a media relation person, much like you're doing with Alsip PD right now, Chief Miller will tell you about a scenario that just took place, and he's asking you for content, what is you've been trained to respond with, that he's going to either decide, you know, if you're accurate or not, but he needs somebody to help him along with that, and we're kind of doing the same thing. I don't have to do what he does, but at the same time, my job is to inform residents and businesses what is taking place in your community and things to watch for and stuff then too. So,
Excellent points. And you're right. It's essentially, you don't have the ability to doing all of your full-time jobs in addition to make sure that accurate information is spreading.
right.
No one wants or needs to fight with people online. But stopping misinformation and disinformation, reality is what people perceive it to be. So if they perceive something wrong, you're going to get a lot of complaints about something that, as you pointed out, you're like, that's not really happening. Here's the accurate information, so it can make your lives easier.
And we try to articulate that in a lot of our newsletters and so forth. I ask people all the time, you know, we have no problem picking up the phone here. Please just give a call, and I'm happy to take care of that. But again, some folks, the convenience of just watching or monitoring a situation is better, easier than calling my office, or maybe I'm away from my desk and it's just going to turn into a cluster. So
Totally, and you can get out in front of things too. It's
Right.
an example where if you start to hear one whisper, you can proactively address that before the snowball rolls and turns into something bigger than it needs to be.
Sure. So I don't want to, you know, I know we got a lot of topics to cover tonight, but Sarah, with what you gave us in the go ahead. I'll let you surmise what you want for what you're talking about here. Go ahead.
Sure. I was just going to show a couple of examples of where we are now, some other areas. There are other villages who have some more followers and things because there's a little bit more engagement, and we can absolutely bring that engagement here to the village. Doing videos, bringing people behind the scenes. Again, other villages are doing that, and it's a great opportunity to have people see and experience part of the village that they wouldn't otherwise be able to, and appreciate and build the community. And also gratitude. I mean, it's one thing where you can also get bi-directional feedback in a way that's unique as trustees to know what's going on and what's important to people. Because, again, they're already here talking online. And these are just some examples with the police department that we've seen over the years. Also, in terms of reacting to things, sharing crime updates, or recently there was the bomb squad was called in at the local library. People were really appreciative because we were able to respond and give updates in real time. All of these things are at the fingertips for the village as well. And you have a lot of really great opportunities coming up. You have your pedestrian survey. If you want to bring in new businesses and growth, you can help attract grants. You can have data behind this stuff to really expand the opportunities that you're doing at the village. I'll pass it over to you for your ideas, questions, comments, wish list.
I have one in that I find it in a lot of the sites that I visit that the search engines are just terrible.
Yeah.
way too much information, way too many options, more specific according to what I type, rather than, I don't need all of this, maybe to dummy it down a bit. That's what I find frustrating a lot, and even the things that I am looking for, it's probably 3 pages down, so
Great
that
point.
would be a wish of mine, especially on any website, being more user-friendly.
Love it. Could not agree more. Yeah. This is a good ick list to put on the I wish we could change. Okay, gotcha. More user-friendly. Easier to find the stuff. Anybody else?
I believe, too, our Village app takes you right back to our website, too. So, I mean, that's great, but we knew it was there already. So, again, that's why we need to butter it up a little bit and stuff, that's all, so. But go ahead. You know what you're talking about here. Go ahead.
Yeah, just getting some of your thoughts, ideas, wishes. Obviously, also here to answer any questions.
No. But,
I mean, I have comments, but I just wanted, I wanted to wait till you were done presenting.
I'm going to pass it over to you, trustee.
Well, just reflecting on this and just thinking back to our engagement with Nextsite, the economic development consultant or entity that we contracted, and I'm not sure what came out of that in regards to the goals that we had and so forth. And now moving forward with this opportunity, I think it would be appropriate to explore the option of an RFQ. That way we as a village can outline what our goals are, our strategic goals are, and also what emerging trends that are coming about, also integrating AI. I see some government entities also exploring chatbots and in regards to FAQ, like frequently asked questions and so forth like that. Also, questions about ADA compliance. I don't think that was listed here in the 2-pager that we received in the packet. So I think that us as a village should kind of have a separate discussion or kind of outline key goals and metrics that we want to accomplish, compile that into an RFQ, and then hopefully we get a couple of other companies that might be able to help us align our goals and allow us to decide on what's the best step moving forward. Because I don't want us to waste an opportunity and taxpayer money trying to create something when we didn't take that first initial step to think about what it is that we want. And in regards to economic development, what are investors looking for? Demographics, market analysis, available sites, and also who's our target audience as well, and how are we going to shape our page based on that and the needs that we need. So I think that there's still a couple more steps that we need, and I think going the RFQ route would help us choose the best path for us moving forward.
Question for you and the trustees. Are you viewing this as one package with the website, or are you saying that perhaps you'd like to look at them separately in terms of RFQ with the web and social media separate?
I think that I would be more inclined to move forward with a website that's functional and then have a web page, a series of web pages, let's say, for example, in particular, economic development. And I understand that social media is important and so forth, but I think that community engagement is a key component with social media, the storytelling and so forth like that. But I think priorities for me right now, if I were to decide on how we should move forward, in my opinion, would be to focus on our website, building a solid economic development page, and then the social media website or page. I know there's municipalities that do have a person that within their group where they hire a consultant that manages social media. But I think as a priority, I would like us to focus on our website and then having a strong economic development webpage that goes along with it, and also serving the needs of the community in regards to like potential investors or residents looking for information and so forth.
So less community engagement right now is a priority, more web page industry information. Well,
community engagement, I think, is a broad term because community engagement can be relationship-based with, I could be building relationships with the park district, face-to-face. And social media, I think, should be utilized as information sharing from a municipal standpoint. I know other municipalities share, like, upcoming dates of, like, branch pickup or garbage, pickup changes or a water main break and so forth like that. So I think it would, I think if you're an investor, I think you might be more inclined to go to a municipal website to see if there's any available sites, any demographic data, what permits and fees are, and so forth like that.
So glad you brought that up. And in terms of looking at some of the science, too, of why people make decisions, it's so interesting because, yes, data is important, and absolutely the website needs to have that. If you're looking at businesses and people in partnerships who are going to make a decision about investing here, the science shows that that is often made based on emotional decisions and using the power and the science of storytelling. So if you can wrap the data in a story, share a success story of local businesses, happy people who are already doing business here, happy industries, those are the things that when you tie the data in those emotional stories, that gets people to say, I want to be like that. I see that business owner in myself, and I want to come to Alsip for those reasons. The data alone on a website will not do that. It's your decision for priorities. I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm already doing some stuff for the police department. But I'll pass it over to you, Mayor.
Well, just to comment
no.
on that, just, I have I have a real estate background, and I think a lot of it is relationship-based, and my client will look at, in regards to commercial client, what the ROI is, with their investment. So I think they are going to stick to more of the on-the-ground data and facts. And the storytelling is wonderful, for a potential resident to come and want to locate in Alsip, and perhaps maybe why they want to buy a home. But clients are looking at amenities, the school data, crime data, and so forth like that.
Yes, and when you wrap it in a story, I promise you, your real estate business will skyrocket, because when you have the marriage of the qualitative and the quantitative, there's a whole bunch of psychology and market research from the top universities in the world that show that that's how you get people to act. So yes, you've got the information. Just experiment next week and let me know if you get some more deals. Free advice for you.
I mean, if that appeals to the lender to give the client finance, I guess.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, there's more math behind it, but I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, obviously, sir, my goal, again, was just to kind of just be a better source of information. That was it. As far as trustee makes a great point about economic development. Fortunately, we've been blessed, with a lot of interest in our community that we haven't had to spend additional monies toward that. We do have monies earmarked for like consultations, that kind of thing yet too, but we actually haven't had. Let's put it this way, I think it's more about having the functional tools that people need to erect a business and so forth yet too. Whether it's TIFs, whether it's, assessments, tax assessments and so forth yet too. I'm looking at a handful of that type of activity right now. Everyone understands how difficult it is dealing with taxes in Cook County at large, and you got to have the tools available to help somebody develop something just to bring them in. And not everybody understands that, even on a web page. Developers do. They'll call me up, or they'll call Roger, and we sit down with them all the time and talk about what we can do to help make something come to fruition. But again, my thing with this was just, there are certainly some great, and we've talked to a couple of really good website developers that can, as the trustee said, that can develop something like that. But that's something we're going to have to budget for probably in the next budget, because that's well beyond what we have appropriate right now. We have a lean budget. We're actually within budget, and we do have a balanced budget this year. Hopefully, it'll be based on everything that takes place here. But that's all it was. Trustees, I want to remind everybody too that while Sarah provided costs to us, and I'm telling you, I was only interested in just myself anyway, and I said this to Sarah when we met last. I was looking kind of just at as I said, the web page cleanup, and maybe just optimizing, Facebook presence. I don't know I'm so much ready for the exclusive contact aspect of it, and that's where we're taking this thing a little bit further. And Sarah, we do have ordinances that say anything beyond $20,000 requires something to go out to an RFP yet too. So I don't want to disclose any numbers in case any of this changes. My thing is that I was really just trying to hear out from I wanted the board to meet with you and hear from them as to whether or not we are interested in pursuing this type of engagement. Doesn't have to happen today or next week, but this is what I was interested to hear, is if the board was interested in pursuing this type of an engagement. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Let's put it that way.
Here to answer any other questions
Gotcha.
you or the board has.
Okay. Board, I know this is after meeting with Sarah and everything else. I'm not asking for any commitment of any type this evening, but what I would ask everybody to do is, I'm going to bring this up in upcoming, maybe our next committee meeting in a couple of weeks. Get a chance to digest this a little bit, what we're looking at here, and I'd like to have another discussion in a couple of weeks on this instead then too, okay? And if anybody has any questions on it, please send them to me, and I'd be happy to, filter those yet too.
I'd like to hear from our department heads on what they would like to put out. I think that we have to come up with an idea of where we want to be 3-5 years from now, and then look towards that goal. Right now, we're just kind of throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping they hit.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. Like I said, this is based on information right now. But Sarah, thank you very much for coming out tonight and giving everybody kind of a quick example of what we're looking at and stuff then too. And we appreciate your help with the police department all the time too as well. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. I really appreciate the demonstration, because I think in a lot of ways you have started, people's minds turning, and, what can the future bring. And this helps, bring forward an area where we do kind of brush it off to the side as opposed to taking a look at it. But, no, I definitely appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you so much.
Sarah, can I just ask you to sign in, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
This. Okay. We'll move on with the rest of our reports this evening. We'll go to a public forum. Anybody in the audience wish to address the board tonight? No? Then we'll go to... Oh, I apologize. You know what? I had a note written. I apologize about that. Clerk O'Donnell, go ahead.
Presentation of the October 21st, 2024 board meeting minutes. That's all I have.
No problem. Thank you. Next, we'll go to our standing committee reports then. We'll start with Finance and IT. Trustee McGlawhorn.
Thank you, Mayor. I will have the usual list of payroll and accounts payable for approval next week.
All right. Thank you. Next, Fire Committee. Trustee Murphy.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Police and Traffic Safety. Trustee Dalzell.
There is a request to approve an ordinance which is adopting the stopping, standing, parking, and movement regulations to be enforced in private property parking lots when asked by the owner, and we have a sample of a ordinance for that.
Trustee, that was a cleanup by our attorney Joe Kankar of that recent when we had Lieutenant Amick on that church parking lot, and Joe felt it summarizes things a little bit better than they've used in other communities. Did you get a chance to look at that too at all? Okay.
Well, the private property, that's the enforcement agreement that allows us to sit there and enforce ordinance violations on private property.
Right.
But the 106 is the additional, which is meant for the same thing, but kind of clears that up.
Exactly.
And the requirement now for us to record these agreements with the Cook County.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Still not real clear as to what that is.
What do you mean?
Can you explain that again?
In English? No.
Yeah, kind of.
Private property enforcement?
Okay, so if there's a stop sign in a church parking lot,
No, this is parking.
okay,
Yeah.
So if they have posted in their parking lot, no parking after 10 p.m.
okay,
If a vehicle's parked there without the owner's permission, then
Could be
they can call the
ticketed.
police department. Police department can sit there and enforce that, but it has to be posted signs. People have to be knowledgeable that a violation does exist and can be enforced.
okay,
And there has to be an agreement with the owner.
got it.
Yeah, the owner actually has to be proactive about it. It's not something where the police department's soliciting that. It's the owners that are requesting the service by the police department to be performed.
Okay. Has to be initiated by the property owner.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
But if there's, say, a vacant parking lot at a piece of property and somebody decides to just suddenly start parking vehicles on that property, as it stands now, we can't enforce it without an agreement with that actual property owner, right?
Got it.
Exactly. All right, thank you. Next, we have the Public Work and Boat Launch Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. This did not make it onto the agenda, but the boat launch will close this Friday, November 1st. And that's all I have, sir.
Okay.
So no more bass fishing
Thank
out
you.
of the CalSag.
Next, we have the Sewer and Water Report. Trustee Nava Esparza.
Thank you, Mayor. Requesting to revise Chapter 20, Article 3, Section 20-44, fire hydrant meter rental and usage. I'm not sure if the Commissioner wanted to speak.
Andy, you wanted to speak to it? You want to explain what that was? Yeah, Andy, can I ask you to sit at the chair so you can talk into the mic? We record these. This is our Water Commissioner, Andy Karpinski.
How you doing? Yeah, so we're basically just looking to update the ordinance to better protect the water system and also keep track of the water usage throughout rentals and stuff like that. My big thing is we want to make sure that we provide clean, safe drinking water to every resident, customer, and owner throughout the whole village. So with this, that'll pretty much give us the authority to make sure that all of the water leaving the system is going through an approved backflow device. So in essence, we will be protecting all the water in the system. Currently right now with this ordinance, it's leaving some room for improvement on that area. So that's why I would ask the board to take this into consideration.
And then, Andy, as far as the fire hydrant meter rental, you know, a lot of folks don't understand. We record all these meetings, but you're saying, like, when there's construction sites, when there's things that take place, there's water coming through. They're going to use water for these sites, so we're metering how much water they're using at these sites, right?
Yeah, correct. So there will be two forms moving forward if this passes. One will be for vendors looking to gain access to water through fire hydrants that they will pay for based on the usage, and then there will be a separate form that contractors working for the village will use that will not be invoiced. It'll just basically be so we can monitor how much water they're using and also protect the water system.
Some of these bigger buildings that went up recently, I know you were hired pretty much right after, like these two Opus properties that just went up, but I'm sure, Roger, they used plenty of water at those sites while they were there and stuff. Yet those are 290,000 square foot facilities, and I'm assuming Danny, our former commissioner, Dan Trevin, he had a meter out there to bill them accordingly and stuff then too, so, okay.
I think that they used to just do either a flat fee or they have the meters.
Yeah, exactly, Trustee Dalzell. It's what Dan always explained to me, either flat fee or the other. And but again, if we can meter those, it's just an accurate bill that we can throw at them and stuff in too.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so it just matches the 915 current rate that we do, so there's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Trustees, any questions for Andy?
And also, Andy, I just want to reiterate that you also want to revise this so they are using a backflow system, because currently they are not, or what are you suggesting?
Yeah, so the backflow device is intended to protect the water system from water making its way back into. So
Sure.
There was no language on that, so this is just language to enforce that moving forward. So if a contractor comes in with his own meter, that's unacceptable moving forward. He'll have to use our meter with our approved backflow device.
Very good. Thank you for doing that.
Yep.
Yeah, good catch, Andy. Thank you. Okay. Next, we have the Building and Health Report. Trustee Paretta.
No agenda tonight, Mayor. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. And then we'll go to Human Resource and Insurance. Trustee Murphy.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Trustee, we did this morning, myself and the HR manager, Fasano, we had a meeting with our insurance person, Renee Fernell, and I asked her to come to next week's committee meeting, 2 weeks from now, committee meeting, and give an update on the 2025 policy that's going to come out.
Projections for,
Yes.
Very good.
Right. Next, we have the special committee reports, starting with Economic Development. Trustee Nava Esparza.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no items this evening.
Okay, thank you. Village Properties, trustee McGlowan.
Thank you, Mayor. I have it on the agenda this evening to talk about repair or replacement of the dilapidated truck currently at the Heritage Apartments. We had briefly discussed this a couple months ago, and it just kind of fell off from there. So bringing it up again to see what kind of direction or what the thoughts of the board might be on that topic.
Certainly, I'll let Roger Early speak to it. Roger's our liaison to the village, to the Heritage Apartments. So
First, I'd like to say thanks to Trustee McGlowan for putting it on the agenda and opening a dialogue. There are a few options right now. Right now, currently, there are no state-awarded contracts for the 2025 F-350s. I did reach out previously and got a bid from State Purchase for 2024. I do believe that I shared that previously with everyone. It was $81,357. Moving forward, I do have an appointment for all the trucks to be looked at over at Regional, kind of get an idea of what is needed for all of the trucks moving forward. I know one of them we have to have some work done to it. I know the 09 truck that we're discussing definitely needs a new service body on the back. The pump, the reservoir are currently leaking on it, so I'm going to ask them to give me a price breakdown on everything. I should have better numbers after next week because I will drop it off on Monday, hopefully getting it back on Tuesday or Wednesday with pricing from Regional.
What Roger's talking about, too, is a lot of the trucks, one of the bigger components on these pickup trucks that they use at the Heritage is the hydraulics for the snowplow. And that's what Regional does. Regional evaluates the snowplows.
Thank
so
you, Mayor.
Right now, it's the snowplow and the bed rotted out on the 09. I shared with Roger an email that I shared with the committee back on October 15th, and basically, as Roger said, we need to stimulate this conversation. Right now, this is obviously the time of year we need to get our vehicles ready for the snow. For the past 37 years, I'm going to say, even with the previous management firm that managed Heritage Apartments, the village had provided 2 pickup trucks, one for each complex. That's still the case that's taking place right now. There's nothing in the contract that says the management firm is responsible for the vehicle.
There's also nothing in the contract that says the village is responsible for providing a vehicle. So we got to be clear on both fronts.
Okay, well then I'll be clear back is to say that why didn't we take it away from Zeiler Management 25 years ago? I'm saying, in other words, they were there for 33 years, and you're driving an 09 truck, and that's why I was saying to you, trustee, is I'm just of the opinion right now that we follow past practice until we have a new contract. That's what I'm trying to say.
But a lot of things have changed between what used to be and what is now. So these people at Heritage are no longer our employees. They work for the management company, and we pay a broader price for that as well. When it comes time to providing the tools that they work with, including the vehicles, that's a little bit of a tough sell for me personally, especially when we had an incident where an employee not of our own had an accident with our vehicle and we're on the hook for it.
Roger, with the vehicles that are over there right now, and I understand what the trustee is saying, but like I said, it's always been, I mean, how long have you been involved with the Heritage
Since '99, and there was a truck there that was purchased in '95. So, I mean, when I was hired, there was a truck there.
At Heritage 1, and I will agree with that, but not at Heritage 2.
Correct, but that was something that I moved forward, once I took over Heritage too, that was something that I felt was a need for that complex.
No, but I'm just saying, going back to the mayor's point, it hasn't been forever, and it hasn't been since day
I'm
one
not
of
sure.
taking
I'm
over
just saying,
the complex.
as far as as long as I know, there's been a vehicle.
Yeah, there's always been a vehicle there. I mean, it's since '95, and previous to that, I know that from what Bill had told me was they had utilized 2 public work trucks previous to that, before they purchased a brand-new truck in '95.
I want to preface this, too, to remind, because the public watches our meetings, this is a segregated budget. The cost of those vehicles do not have anything to do with our village dollars here. That's funded by the Heritage
Funded by the
Departments.
Heritage
Right,
complexes.
Right.
But at the same time, is that we're talking about buying a very large vehicle for snow plowing that doesn't occur all the time, but we're going to have that vehicle all the time.
Right.
Whereas, how much would that cost for us to farm out that service of snow plowing? Now we don't have to worry about purchasing vehicle or expending the manpower resources towards that. It can be compartmentalized specifically for that task.
I don't disagree. The last 3 years have been very, very bare, but the years previous to that,
Yep, and I
you're
will not.
you're
predict
not
weather.
going to win
I will not
with
predict
putting
weather.
out that outlay of money to have a contract, a yearly contract, to have somebody come in and do snow removal. I guarantee you, sooner or later, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose big.
And maybe so. I'd just like to see those numbers. But, here we're talking about expending quite a bit of money for a vehicle to be used, and we're buying a beefy vehicle for snow plowing. And snow plowing comprises probably 3% of its use.
And they also use it, they also utilize it for other things.
Right,
They
but
do go
other
to-
things doesn't require a 350.
Right, I think that's part of the discussion that we need to have is, what do they really need on a daily basis over the course of the year, excluding the few times a year that we need to do snow plowing, and what are the other alternatives for when it comes to the snow plowing? So if a 150 or a 250, say, and then I'm just, pulling out model numbers, but if that's what serves our purpose on a day-to-day basis for 95% of the year, then maybe that's the avenue that we consider looking at. And then we factor in, okay, what is the incremental expense of all of this extra, what do we have to add on for the snow plowing? And when we look at those pieces separately, then maybe it really does make more sense to just contract the snow plowing and buy a truck that will serve, again, 95% of what we need.
Or if
it
it's
for.
not a contract, then I would, personally,
that
I
too.
would much rather expend the money to water streets for a beefy vehicle to where they're going to make use of it most all the time, and maybe have the snow plowing requirements left to the people that are doing the snow plowing now outside of the Heritage.
And do a bill back cert method?
It's not a whole big area by comparison to the village of Alsip.
And I have to agree. That was the same question I was going to ask, is what's the primary use of the vehicle? And I think for seasonal contracts for snow, I believe they're not the entire year. It's just maybe November 1st until, I guess, April 1st.
March 15th, April
1st.
Yeah,
April
so,
1st.
and even the structure of those snow contracts can vary as well. So it would be nice to have an estimate, what are the estimates, what a contract would be for snow, and then what are the expenses tied to operating that vehicle that we would have for the year as well.
I would have to go out and do an RFQ in order to get prices, and right now I don't think that that's going to be possible. You are going to have some huge numbers, because most people now at this point have already secured their bids and are kind of locked in it for their season. If they're going to try to help facilitate this, they're going to ask for some exorbitant numbers.
And if it's a big number like what you're talking about, which I don't know what that big number is, but, maybe it's smarter for us to hire additional personnel for our departments, utilize them 365 days a year instead of just for snow plowing. But they're there for snow plowing, and and the rest of the village.
Or depending on, because you said the truck will be evaluated next week, when we find out the cost of getting the 2009 back to working order, maybe that potentially buys us another year, and then we plan ahead and get prices on a snow plowing contract for next season.
And trustee, that's where I was going at with my note to you was, if we need to buy a little bit of time to replace the rusted bed and fix the hydraulics on this thing, it buys us a little bit of time to get around this for a little bit and stuff, only because it's already there. That was my point.
I mean, I don't want to continue doing things just because that's the way we've always done it. I think we need to try to evaluate and how can we get better and what's the best way to spend the money we have. Because I was looking through the budget earlier today and looking at the capital projects on the list just for the heritage complexes. And overall, that's $5.9 million. And we don't have necessarily that much available at this point in time. So all of the capital projects need to potentially be stretched out, and we need to try to manage that money the best we can.
Right.
And at this point in time, and especially on a cash flow basis, laying out close to six figures for a truck at this point in time might not be the best move. Whereas if we can rethink our operations, then maybe we can get to a better place and then have those funds for some of the other critical projects that we do need to do.
I agree with you. I've actually had to, just so you know, I did have a face-to-face last week with the management firm with Ken Hopold, and I told him, trustee, along the lines of what you just said, is that right now that the contract we have with them is very vague when it comes to this issue, but that we may introduce that, and if that's what we decide to do, that will be introduced in the next contract and stuff. And because this way, I got to make it clear with him what he's responsible for, and he understood that. He goes, "That's fine, whatever you guys think."
No, and I know, I say, even when we signed this contract, our former finance director was pushing really hard that we sell the existing trucks to HRE so that we completely got out of the truck business. Now, we didn't take her advice at that point in time, but I mean, she was quite insistent on doing that to get them off our books and get the liability out of our hands as well.
I'm with you, but I just got to have it clear in a contract to do that, because obviously it'll bounce back on us only because of past history. In other words, I'm agreeing with you. So to say that, I think I just want to follow past practice to get me to the next contract.
Yeah, and I just don't want to buy a six-figure truck just because we've always supplied.
I met with
trucks,
Roger the other day. I told Roger the same thing. Is I got to get through this till I get more clarity on something like this, and as far as who's going to be responsible for it. If we've shifted everything as we've done the past 4 years, if we shifted all the help and everything to be the responsibility of the management firm, the equipment needs to go with it and stuff then too. So.
And certainly, I appreciate your expertise, Raj. You've been there for a long time and doing it. I appreciate it. I think you've been doing a great job, Ken, with what he's done so far, too. It's a dynamic situation that we're in. It's kind of new for the both of us, so I'm just looking for an alternative.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we just want to make sure we've covered all our bases and discussed everything to make the best decision.
That's what we're here for.
So, yeah, Roger, if you would, please. Roger's going to bring the vehicle in question is going to go in on next Monday.
It'll go in on Monday. Hopefully I'll have numbers Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right, so we'll talk about it next week.
Did you want to request an RFQ to just see what's out there?
Not right now, because I think we're just going to try and repair the truck if we can. The truck's got barely 30,000 miles on it. It's an 09, but it's certainly...
09 with just under 35,000 miles.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's got a ton of rust on it, but it's certainly it's still a viable piece of equipment at this point.
The engine is great. It's just the body is completely rusted out, and all the lines are rusted out.
Right. So that's my point. Is let's see if we can't do it and make it to repair the thing and stuff yet too.
We'll have more insight next week.
Okay. Thanks, Roger.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have the ordinance and legislation report. Trustee Peretta.
No agenda. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. And then the Planning, Zoning, and Licenses Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a presentation of a list of licenses dated October 14th, 2024 through October 25th of 2024. And that's all I have this evening.
Very good. Next, did anybody have any presentations, petitions, or communications? As a reminder, Thursday is Halloween, and the board did approve new hours for Halloween this year. So it's going to, as opposed to 3 p.m. to 6:30, now it's 3 p.m. till 7 p.m. is Halloween hours Thursday night. So hopefully everybody has a great time, and look forward to seeing all the kids come by the house and stuff then too. I know on my block, gee, we get 75 to 90 kids every year.
Really?
I actually buy juice boxes, and this way you kind of get an idea, how many kids come by and stuff. But no, it's a great turnout every year, yeah, too. Especially for the long blocks like that, it's kind of interesting, yeah, too. So,
Yeah, but you drink most of them.
it doesn't hurt to push down, whatever those Capri Suns once in a while,
I say I'm surprised because I said, I mean, even before we moved into our current house, it was one of the neighborhoods that we always trick-or-treated in when my son was young because of all the sidewalks and the streetlights, and it was very walkable.
Right.
But now that we live over there, it's like nobody comes to the door. So they're all going up and down your street
Apparently,
instead of my neighborhood.
and walking your street laws. I don't even have a sidewalk.
Great draw.
I just
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. So, did anybody have any unfinished business they want to talk about? Any new business? Then can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We'll adjourn this meeting. The time now is 8:25 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you very much.